There aren't many games which enthuse you, or at least enthuse me, to the point where I'm never off them. Things like The Swindle, They Are Billions. Those kind of games, I feel like I'm always playing them because I like them that much. I think Pacific Drive is going to be another one of mine. Pacific Drive is the kind of game where you don't so much want to play as can't stop playing. It has that one more go feeling. My first time ever, I lost 4 hours to this game. I didn't even notice. It starts innocently enough, driving to a delivery job alongside a giant foreboding wall. What could possibly go wrong? Your vehicle mangled, you quickly find a replacement. Lucky you. It's a station wagon. Not exactly the stuff legends are written about, is it? The driving initially felt a bit weird to me, but that might be because I just don't play a lot of driving games. I'm a bit rusty. And by the way, this is the only viewpoint you'll ever have in the entire game, first person. You find a garage, the cranky owner via radio tells you to outfit your new vehicle with a few things, gather supplies, and plan your journey on the map. Oh wow, look at all these readouts! I'm assuming I'll get used to them in time, but for now, damn! Let me say straight away that I consider any game with more than 3 survival gauges is pushing its luck with me. This looks like a lot more than 3. Looking at the environment and the weirdness, it kind of put me in mind of Gravity Falls. I've been watching it recently. I recommend it. On any given journey, you'll be dropped into a fair-sized open-world map And thanks to the chaotic nature of the zone itself, maps are randomly redrawn afresh with every visit. It also means resources cannot be exhausted. It also means hazards are randomly drawn each time too. So you never know exactly what you're getting into until you're about to blunder into it. Your goal is to scavenge as many resources as possible before the zone's rigours overcome you and your car. It is Gravity Falls! You have various tools that allow you to strip materials from car wrecks and other objects. The grinder breaks down panels and trees, the hammer breaks plasma generators, the pry bar opens locks, etc, etc. Don't do what I did and forget the basics. I stupidly only kept one version of each tool in my inventory, and I thought to myself, I'll keep on getting a bit more wear and tear, a bit more durability out of it, and then my tools broke. And left me with no way of scavenging extra resources to make more. Always keep 2 of everything. And at every step of the journey, your car will be there. It has to be. Your car is your transport, obviously, not just around the map, but in and out of the map as well. But it is so much more than that. It's your inventory, your shield, your compass and map, your workbench, your light in the darkness. It is literally everything to you. So when it takes damage, it matters. When you plough through a large tree, when you plough through a small tree, when you crash through a fence, when you drive through a radioactive hotspot, when you're in the middle of a storm, when you're forcefully sent flying off the road, you'll cringe at every impact. Sometimes it's just a scrape. Other times it takes a ton of damage. It can look pretty bad at times, but the underlying frame of the car can't actually be damaged, and everything bolted to it can be fixed up good as new again, as long as you get back to the garage. When you wander off to explore on foot, because you will have to, and usually because it's more trouble than it's worth to get the car any closer, after 2 minutes away, you'll start worrying about whether the car's still alright where you parked it. You get a warning, by the way, when the car is actually in danger. That won't stop you from worrying about it every 2 seconds though. You take care of her, she'll take care of you. You break her, you're fucked. These are not enemies. Even if some of them happen to look like enemies, they are obstacles, anomalies, to be avoided if possible, endured when necessary. They're not enemies, so you can't defeat them. Don't even try. You're not even given anything approaching a weapon in any case. Anomalies include pillars of earth, electrical fields, shocking towers, fields that screw with the car's systems, radiation, buzzsaw blades, toxic spewing, whatever the hell these things are, and of course, the creepy tourists. Watch out, they bite! No, they don't. They explode. And they move when you're not looking at them. There are anomalies that drag your car through the trees, ones that snatch the items out of your hands, snatch items from your backpack, snatch components off your car, for crying out loud. There are extremely localised weather fronts with a variety of effects. EMPs, high winds, acid rain, rock columns, radioactive meteors. And as if all this wasn't enough, you're usually on a time limit, dictated by the zone's stability. And by doing some clock watching, I estimate that the average zone typically gives you about 20 minutes looting before it decides to feed your arse into the meat and metal grinder, otherwise known as an instability storm. It compresses on the map and shrinks down roughly into where you are, slowly crushing you. And you have to keep an eye on your car's weather monitoring equipment, but the zone itself also issues like a klaxon and an alarm when one of these things is inbound. So it's not as if it doesn't give you any warning. Sometimes you don't have a time limit. Sometimes the zone is peaceful and you never have the storm to contend with. You're not safe. You're never safe. Good God, no. In the zone, safe is relative. The roads in and out of the zone open and close whenever they damn well please. So ultimately the only way back to the garage is through a highly experimental teleporter that's definitely, completely, probably safe. It's fueled by energy from the zone anchors. Grab the anchor and shove them in the arc device in your car. When you have enough for an exit, get to a minimum distance from the exit, trigger it, and then drive like hell itself is chasing you, because that's not far from the truth. Get through the column of light and you're back. Once back at the safety of the garage, there are some things you should do. Relax being number one. You can use the panel next to the door. That'll give you a rundown of things the game thinks you should be doing. You can heal yourself, refuel the car, recharge its battery. Offload your loot, repair what can be repaired, replace what can't. Then plan your next destination on the map. Head back into the zone, rinse and repeat. Need to check everything on your car to make sure it's all in good working condition. Damaged or missing panels, for example, can let radiation into the car, harming you. Other things like damaged components can impair their functionality. You have to keep an eye on everything in your car. And there is a lot to keep an eye on. Your car has no less than, deep breath, 5 doors, 5 panels, 4 tyres, a windscreen, 2 bumpers, 2 headlights. And with subsequent upgrades, 4 side racks, 2 roof racks and 2 rear seat racks. And by the way, it's not enough to just check for damage. Components can also acquire breaks, punctures and other weaknesses that need addressing with different repair kits. Components will also simply wear out over time. When you see a little grey diamond with an X inside, there's nothing you can do. Time to scrap it and build a new one. And then there are the quirks. I love the quirks system, not necessarily the quirks themselves. Your car will just start doing random shit for no reason whatsoever. Some of the quirks are benign, others less so. The diagnostic station at the garage will tell you if your car's got a quirk, but not what it is. You have to tell it what the quirk is to resolve it. Which, by the way, is damn near impossible if you've no clue what it is, owing to how many possible combinations there are. You can ask it for hints, but it'll cost you. Some quirks are not a problem, so much so, sometimes you can't actually tell if you've even got one. Others might send you flying off the road or off a cliff edge if you're not careful. Checking for damage and quirks, refueling and recharging, swapping out bits for better bits or ones that are just worn out. I reckon I spent just as much time maintaining the car as I did driving it in the zone. That's not a criticism, by the way. Ouch! I closed the boot lid on my own head. That was hilarious. I can't even bring myself to be mad about it. That was a nice touch. It also did a tiny bit of damage, but I don't even care. But for all the time I spent working on it, weirdly, I never, not once, ever felt the car was a burden. I never got bored of fixing it up, even combating its quirks, and I'm not even a car enthusiast. There's so many things to look after on it, and yet, I never felt overstretched. The system is remarkably good at giving you more than one way of figuring out what state your car is in. I mean, true, when the same tyre bursts twice in a row, that gets annoying, but I was never short of materials in the boot to make a repair kit or replacement tyre with. You'll not only be maintaining the current state of your car, you'll also be researching upgrades, new panels and doors, various racks, a whole host of upgrades to fit these new racks, along with upgrades such as shields, a handbrake, loot sensors, new tyres, lighting rigs, extra storage, lightning rods, damage resistant panels, puncture proof tyres. Did I mention you can spray paint the car a different colour and put decals on it? There's that many features in this game, I almost forgot to mention that entirely.
There's an old anomaly barricade we can piggyback onto. It's archaic technology and early attempt to stop anomalies from drifting out into the wider Olympic Peninsula. It worked for some time.
Until it didn't. But long enough to get the old. The barricade's in bad shape, but what's a little rampant voltage leakage? Not like the ghosts and goblins of the deep zone will mind. And if they do, more the better for Francis. Huh?
Appreciate the olive branch, Aubrey, but boy, do you have a lot to learn about the paranormal. I'd be happy to give you a primer after all this is over.
Ugh, hard pass. I'm far too old for that.
I like games where you can build your own custom base, but if there's one thing I like more than building a custom base, it's building a custom mobile base. True, the car doesn't have all the bells and whistles that the garage has, but it's more than enough for you in the field. If there's one piece of negative criticism I can level at the game, it's this. The garage is too fucking dark. It's hard to see the car sometimes, and the outside storage, don't forget where it is. I personally don't like having to use precious durability on my various light sources just to find that storage locker outside again. But the best bit of this game? It's that you can turn tons of the features on and off during the middle of a game. You can make it as easy or as hard as you want. Any time you want. Don't like operating the brake or shifter by holding the button? Make it a button tap. Don't like those irritating storms? Turn them off. Nights pass faster. Free fill up and repair when you return to the garage. Go as nuts as you want. There's lots of options here for affecting the difficulty of the game. There's really no reason to not give it a go. You can either insist on driving through a ruined and blasted hellscape, or you can just go for a nice serene drive in a slightly spooky forest. Your choice. I had a blast with this game, especially when I ran into a tourist. Like a lot of the best indie titles, Pacific Drive does a lot with relatively little. It's the way it combines those few elements it has. You will drive past the same buildings again and again. You will circle around the same anomalies again and again. Sometimes the randomness of the map layout is a bit weird, but the chaotic nature of the zone itself makes it easy to shrug off those concerns. Even when you're parked up safely, random bursts of radiation or other effects can spontaneously decide to appear, sometimes right underneath the car. But here's the remarkable thing for me. I don't drive cars for fun. I enjoy driving around the zone. I don't like fixing cars. I enjoyed the maintenance here. I'm turned off by repetitive level design. The zone was never boring. Everything about this game should be telling me to stay the hell away. I couldn't put it down. Carefully consider your destination, the hazards en route, and build your car accordingly. And don't drive like a maniac unless you have to. You will have to. Once you work out how it operates, it gets easier to drive through the zone without taking a ton of damage. It gets easier to find the resources that you're looking for. You start to target things on the map knowing that what you're looking for is there. And you really don't want to go there because it looks really nasty. You find your way through it eventually. And while the game is super repetitive, it's as far away from boring as you can imagine. That'll do for this video, I think. What did you think of my video? Leave a like or dislike down below. What did you think of Pacific Drive? Have you played it? You bloody should. It's brilliant. Leave a comment down in the comment section, because that's what the comment section is for. And for those of you who can't get enough of my dulcet tones, you can always subscribe, ring the bell for notification, that's a separate thing. Or if you want to inflict my irritating persona on someone else, you can always share instead. See you next time.